Hey guys, Alderman back for another video here for the Pagan Perspective. I guess the first thing I want to say is Happy Pride Month. I know it's been a number of Pride festivals have already gone on and people have celebrated, but I just want to say Happy Pride Month to all the folks listening who find themselves a part of the LGBT community. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into our question of the week. It's a very long question. So I'll go ahead and, again, post that down below so you guys can take a look at it. But for a quick summary, I would say the question comes down to comparing yourself to other religions, comparing where you are on your path, and how do you know when your path is right for you? That's the general tones, the broad strokes of the question that's down below. Personally, I can only speak for myself. Personally, I would say that my path was kind of erratic, I would say, for most people, because I started off as a Christian. I grew up in a Christian Baptist household. I was required to go to church every Sunday, and I would be told that that the Christian God was the only God around. And it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right at all. It felt kind of weird and impossible. And then I started reading more of the Bible, and this is my early teens, and things just didn't really line up for me. And I found myself in Sunday school. I actually questioned one of the concepts in front of the class, and I remember the look in the face of the Sunday school teacher, and she just looked at me like, why was I so difficult? Why don't I just believe what she wants me to believe? That look, I didn't know it at the time, but that look kind of set me down my path of breaking away from Christian Baptist. I began going to bookstores, always gravitating toward the section that dealt with magic. Wicca books would be there, spell books would be there. I picked up many of them. I returned some of them. I've talked about this before, where when I went to church later on in my early teens, at 15, 16 years old, I've had mentors who told me to take the books back. So my path kind of went from reading spells, wanting to practice them, and then back into Christianity for a bit. But then again, it didn't feel right, so I went out and bought more books. One thing led to another. I ended up picking up books by Michelle Ballinger, and it talked about energy vampirism. It talked about different people's energy bodies. I ended up getting a series of emails from someone who was very much into the metaphysical, the astral realms. I picked up Bruce Mercer books and learned more about energy work. I picked up books on Reiki energy and began studying that. So my path was very much energy focused. I stumbled across binaural beat technology, and that would allow me to meditate. The binaural beat technology was HoloSync, which is still available today. One of the most powerful forms of meditation I've ever had has been through HoloSync. That happened. I was still reading spell books, still practicing spells, but doing a lot of meditation every day because I found that it was so powerful. I was so relieved. My visualization powers began to grow immensely. And then I think it was at that time when I reread Michelle Ballinger's book and decided to try some of these energy concepts. And I was pretty much, at that point in my time, I was a energy worker. I worked a lot with energy. Picked up a few books specifically aimed at witchcraft. I want to say right around high school times by Silver, Ravenwolf. My early 20s, I came across a lot of gay men who would write books. Energy work, shamanism. I stumbled across podcasts. So a lot of these things had a big, profound way in shaping the way I see magic, the way I shape when I see ritual. I didn't really compare myself to other people because I have the understanding that they're on their path for a reason. And if something doesn't feel right, you move on, right? I mean, think about the way Mother Nature works. If something doesn't feel right, you move on because you're uncomfortable. Think about people who migrate in the desert. When they're running out of water, what do? They seek out another land, another oasis, and they move on. So I'm of the opinion that it's probably not the best thing to compare yourself with another path unless you're feeling uncomfortable. If something's not right, if the current path that you're on is not feeding you. In my case, it was the kind of like a voracious appetite for something, for more knowledge, for more information. And I think that comes from being constrained in Christianity for so long. I wanted something else. I wanted to find the answer. because I think I knew that I was being lied to. Is it right to compare yourself? I think for curiosity, you can compare yourself, but don't ever feel like you need to be like them. Only move on to a different path if you feel uncomfortable. I think that's the way nature goes, the evolution of your personal path. I do feel like we're always growing, because anything could cause you to add more to your particular path. I mean, someone could comment on this video and then they'll talk about their path, and I would end up learning a little bit more about that path, maybe incorporating some of those rituals. So I think you're never quite done along your path. Even in afterlife, I feel like you're always getting better, always adding to you, always enriching your experience. So that just about does it for this particular question. I want to know what you guys think. Do you look at your path as a constant journey? Do you think you're finished with what you've learned? Are you reluctant to add new things because you like things to be rigid and set in stone? Go ahead and post those answers down below. I think it may help someone who watches this video. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching this video. Blessed be.